Good afternoon, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you some live updates, live coverage from the Venezuela earthquakes and the Iran war. We actually have some cameras today in La Guaira, Venezuela. That is live from La Guaira. Terrible. The most devastated part of, hold on a second here, the most devastated part of part of Venezuela. So we're going to be getting you updates here. Have this angle too. Where is it here? Oh, the other angle's frozen. The cameras are kind of coming in and out. You can see it. You can see that's frozen right now. So they come in, they come out. So I'll switch back and forth. The other one I have is frozen too. Nope, now it's coming back. Hang on a moment here. But yeah, I mean, there's not even like, this is a site where you don't even really see heavy machinery working right now. And I mean, that's just devastation. And obviously, people are not going to be able to remove a lot of that debris. Let me switch over to and show you. There's also that one, which is also La Guaira. A lot of these people here actually don't even look like professionals. Now, although I do see some, those look like professionals. But I mean, there's been a bunch of reporting saying that people in different parts of the country have not. At least I was reading yesterday articles and reports talking about how in certain parts of the country people were saying, you know, we've been here and we haven't gotten help yet to look through the rubble. So now I don't know. Maybe the rescue workers have already been out there and prioritized a different building or something. But it's really terrible. That's a building. I assume it's a building. It certainly looks like a building. Yeah, regarding the number of people missing, as I've said before, there's a website where people can report people missing, but you know, I'm not going to necessarily read off of that web. I can't rely on that website. You know, there could be duplicate people who've been reported. I know for a fact, not that there's that many, but there's some posts on there that some people, for reasons beyond me, made like fake posts, joke posts. But I mean, I'm guessing most of them are legit, but that's not, you know, right now on that website, it says that 49,000 people, 805 have been posted about and not located. But I can't take, that's not to me an expert assessment of how many people are missing. I don't know that that number has been gone through. Again, just for examples, there could be multiple people posting about the same missing person. There could be a person who was found and a listing was taken off for them, but not another listing taken off for them. So again, it's horrible, and there certainly could be that many people missing, but I'm not, you know, I don't have a figure that's been quoted by some agency with expertise that's that number, or that I've really seen. And I don't know if it's possible for that to have that right now. I don't know that the government there is in any position, has the manpower or expertise to give that number, or the knowledge of who's missing to give that number. So while I don't doubt that there are many, many missing, I'm not. I'd be careful about that quoting that number. I'll give you I'll post the link to that site, by the way, that people have been using to post about people missing. It's Desaparecidos Terremoto, Venezuela. It's very sad. People post pictures and descriptions of people missing. It's terrible. So many people apparently missing. Let me go to this. But you know, we've been talking the last few days um, about how there's been. This is the first day that I've seen a bunch of live streams from La Guaira. I have not seen this before, and there might have been one or two yesterday, but it seems like the media has been able to get to La Guaira and is shooting there today. And you know, the last couple days, a bunch of the news agencies, for all I know, they've been made to be there. We're in Caracas at like one or two particular sites that just so happen to have lots of heavy machinery and lots of workers, of rescue workers. And as I've said, I was suspicious that maybe the government was, you know, trying to shape the narrative a bit and not allowing press to go to other places. Because I've been hearing all these reports about places where people were not, where there was not that kind of response, you know, with not a lot, not heavy machinery, not lots or if any workers. So when you look at these videos, you know, this is not a scene where you see lots of heavy machinery. I mean, I guess there's one piece of machinery there, but it's very different than the Caracas pictures we've been seeing in that one or two sites the last couple of days. And again, most of those people don't even look like professionals. Now, again, I don't know if for all I know, rescue workers have been over there, but there's plenty of reports out there where people, I've watched reports on in Spanish language media, and I've read reports where people are saying, hey, you know, we're at this, there's this building and nobody's been here yet to help us, you know, try to get people out. And it's a catastrophe. There's hundreds of buildings at least, reportedly, you know, that have collapsed. So there very well just might not be the resources, or maybe haven't been the resources to get to all the buildings. I don't know. Yeah, and again, this website, I just want to clarify this. This is not an official, you know, it's a website that, for example, I think this is the one that people generally have been using to report missing people. Maria Corina Machado, I know, had posted about this website. But I believe anybody can post on here. I know so like as a joke, which I think is terrible, some people posted posts about me. I guess why people would make a joke on this website, I don't know. But my point is, this is not like some expert rescue organization that is vetting every single post. And so you have to be careful with this site. I don't want you to think that like, oh, this site is like, it's a government site and it's very well maintained and it's full of experts who are closely monitoring every single post and keeping it update minute to minute. No, I mean, from my understanding, it's just where pretty much anybody can go and post about somebody. I'm guessing the large majority of posts are legit, but I see these figures quoted as if they're like, you know, some kind of expert agency that has tons of information that they've obtained and have gone over it really carefully and all that stuff. And I don't know that to be the case. And so what it basically says is, you know, you can post on here, and people have been posting about people who are missing. And I guess, I don't know how they do this, but if they find out that somebody has been found, they will mark that. So they say, oh, now they say approximately, you can see 79,000 reports. I don't know if they had this report. Now they're saying approximately 64,700 unique people, no contact 49,805, people who've been located 14,900. So look, it's very possible that those numbers are close to what the actual numbers are. I just want you to be careful with these numbers. But again, I'll post the link to the chat. I'll post the link and you can look at the site. But it's quite, I mean, it's pretty crazy to see this. And again, this is, previous days, we weren't really seeing lives from La Guaira. I see one vehicle there. Then there's significant damage to the buildings on either side of that too. Or is that the same building? I don't know. No, I think it's two different buildings. Yeah, one of our viewers mentioned the number of hours. We're close to 96 hours. I think we're at about 93 hours right now since the earthquakes hit on Wednesday. Hey, I do want to thank our moderators for being here. We have moderating right now. Ruth is moderating, and Beth Mythical. Hold on. Ruth and Beth Mythical are moderating on YouTube. Thank you. Also, hang on. Also, hang on. Idaho Star on Twitch, McBritches, Sarah, Surly Dev. Sorry. Idaho Star, McBritches, Sarah, Surly Dev, and Tariag moderating on Twitch. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha moderate for us on X. Thank you to all of our moderators, and hang on a minute here. Michael Fergal, Andrea Holder, Kay Lowry Body moderating on Facebook. Thanks to Diane Allworth and Juliana Martin for subscribing on Facebook. Oh, look at this. Here, look. Look at this. So this is the building to the left, I think, is the building we've been looking at. But then it looks like there's a whole other collapsed building next to it. And we see basically that one piece of heavy equipment, right? And actually, it looks like there's I don't know if that's a third building in the back or if it's just part of the other building. Yeah, look at back there. It's just people standing on the rubble in the back. It's unbelievable. Michael Sterling says not going to make much help digging people out. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much that one vehicle can do. So I think just in this view, I think we can see three different buildings. There's that building there. You know, these, oh, it's actually it's different because those two vehicles are different vehicles. But I think the cameras are basically in the same location. But that shot makes it look like we're seeing three buildings on the left, on the right, and in the back. Three collapsed buildings. I don't know, in this shot, the pile in this shot, the pile on the left might be debris because the bulldozer, whatever that thing is, just dumped some stuff on a pile in the left. But again, we have those two buildings, but I think this is a different building right there. But I think the camera's all in the same area. Look at this. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Front loader. See, back there's a bunch of rescuers on the top of that building. Look at way in the back. It goes all the way back up there. Looks like that's a roof up there. By the way, a quick thanks to Jeff Buddington and Gayla S. and San Antonio, hello. San Antonio, hello, says, I've seen reports from citizens referring to a building material called anime as responsible for many collapses. Any info on that? No, I've literally not heard any reports on that. I mean, I haven't read every single report on this. I have not heard any report on that. I was reading a couple articles last night, and I'll share one of them with you in a short time, which two factors I have seen experts talk about are buildings possibly built on softer soil, also buildings not having buildings made of concrete not having, is it steel reinforcement inside them? I'll have to pull this up so I can see it. Those are a couple. Also questions about whether standards were high enough, or also even if they had standards for building buildings to being for being earthquake proof or earthquake resistant, whether the enforcement of those standards was adequate. You could have standards, and if they're not enforced, then builders might not build to those standards. For example, AP had an article saying older buildings and substandard construction left Venezuela vulnerable to earthquakes. They have an article in AP from yesterday, the day before, I believe, yesterday, saying engineers and other experts, older buildings, substandard construction, and geography left many buildings in Venezuela vulnerable to the strong earthquakes like the ones that struck the country last week. Among the factors that left so many structures at risk, says AP, some housing complexes in northern Venezuela were constructed quickly during recent oil booms, and builders may not have adhered to best practices that mitigate the risks of serious seismic activity. Older housing, erected in the 1950s and 1960s, before modern earthquake standards were adopted, may not have been retrofitted to survive such violent shaking, and many buildings were constructed on geography and soft soils that compound the danger of earthquakes, experts said. A structural engineer who AP talked to, structural engineer in California, David Koch, said a combination of soft soils, tall towers, and older concrete structures contributed to widespread damage, particularly when buildings pancaked or collapsed floor by floor. They just don't have the more modern reinforcing steel connections that we put in those kind of buildings today, said the structural engineer. Since the 1970s, engineers have known that concrete buildings are particularly susceptible to earthquakes and seek to reinforce new construction with steel. While many rich nations have forced property owners to retrofit or tear down dangerous buildings, many poorer or middle-income nations have lagged in enforcing upgrades as they battled some more immediate woes, says AP. Other experts noted a number of buildings that collapsed also had non-structural walls comprised of heavy bricks, or they had soft stories in which their ground floors consisted of garages or similar open spaces. Such construction increases the risk of pancaking, they said. A professor of civil environmental engineering at Stanford University said in Venezuela, soft stories are particularly prevalent, and if you combine softer soils with a soft story, buildings can collapse. So those are just some of the possible factors cited in that article. The article points out also Venezuelan government officials took steps following a deadly 1967 quake to update building codes, but it is unclear how many buildings were retrofitted to comply with those rules. Also, some newer buildings did collapse. A Venezuelan civil engineer who AP talked to said, something that leaves me perplexed is the fact that among the collapsed buildings, more than one was recently designed and built in accordance with current standards, said this engineer. We need to embark on a process not only of reconstruction, but also of reviewing the applicable standards, since something might have gone wrong with our engineering processes too. Thanks also Jeff Buddington and also TR Goosefraba. TR Goosefraba and eBiker92. Thanks eBiker on Twitch. Look at this. Again, this is in La Guaira, the hardest hit state in Venezuela, coastal state in northern Venezuela, north of Caracas. And I mean, we're seeing in these videos, these lives today, collapsed buildings where, I mean, there are these collapsed buildings where we're not seeing a huge amount of activity in terms of very little machinery, not many professional rescuers, it looks like. I mean, just you're seeing what I'm seeing. Look at this. Right? I think these two cameras might be on opposite sides of this pile. See that building there in the back? I think it might be the same, maybe the same building on both sides. Actually, it doesn't look like it's the same. Or is it? No, I think it might be a little different. Might be different parts of the same area because, well, it's hard for me to tell. It looks a little different on the right side. I think it's the same area, possibly different buildings. I'm not sure. Look at that. Look at back there. There are a bunch of rescuers. Oh, sorry. Back there. I'm sorry. A bunch of rescuers back there. Plutonium thinks this will be recovery soon. Sadly, we are now at getting close. We're at 93 hours about since the earthquakes happened. Has anyone been rescued? Yeah, I have periodically heard reports of rescues. I don't have up to date myself how many people have been rescued. We saw some people the first day or two be rescued. I believe the official toll is currently 1450. That's what I'm seeing in terms of dead. But I don't know that that's been updated in a little while. Actually, I'm sorry. That was updated a little while, a couple hours ago. It's 1450 is the death toll right now, 1450. Dustin B says there was an infant rescued. But I believe that toll will go much higher. Phoenix 45 says El Salvador has rescued multiple people. President Bukele is posting them to his YouTube. I know I saw one video of I haven't been looking closely. I saw one video on El Salvador government social media yesterday or the day before of somebody being rescued. Let me mention some other reporting here on this. Now, I will say that a couple days ago, El Nacional, sorry, I think I have the thing here. El Nacional, a newspaper, Venezuelan newspaper, I believe they're Venezuelan, they cover Venezuela a lot, they said that a United Nations official a couple days ago had said that the number of missing could go to about 50,000. See if I have any update from let's see here. Yeah, Sweet Pyro of Cairo says so many people dying under the rubble. I mean, look, it's terrible to think about, but you have to imagine there have been people who are trapped and have been trapped. I mean, at this point, it's been almost 96 hours, but it's just awful to think about. But you know, even if you had just a couple buildings, that can happen. But this is reportedly hundreds of buildings that have been destroyed. David says, how long will it take them to recover from this? I don't know how many other buildings that are still technically standing have to come down. We've seen buildings that look like, even though they're standing, they have severe damage. Our viewer Heraclean says people who are responsible for these buildings' collapse will get away with it. There is never justice. Grandmom Zeus says, I think Bukele has been posting rescues on X2. Bukele. Oh, sorry. So, like, I know Bukele actually. Sorry, you're hearing the AP music. Bukele 4 hours ago posted about somebody, a 60-year-old person who was rescued after 11 hours of intense work. You can see here, this is from Nayib Bukele. I'll have it translated for you. After 86 hours of being trapped under the rubble and 11 hours of intense work, we have managed to rescue alive Belkis Josefina Barreto Garcia, 60, who remained under the rubble. The El Salvadorian and Peruvian rescuers rescued this person, but her health condition is still delicate. I'm going to show you some other stuff too about this. Give me a moment though. I need to. So Reuters reports that the interim president Delcy Rodriguez said that 33 people have been rescued so far this weekend, while tens of thousands remain unaccounted for, says Reuters. The death toll is... Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if it has been raised today, because Reuters said that the death toll rose to above 1,400 as of Saturday. I don't know when the last time it's been updated is. Families and volunteers spent days pulling survivors and bodies from the rubble before the arrival of more than 1,600 foreign rescue workers, often complaining of scant heavy equipment and a limited official presence. The government, sorry, here, hold on a second here. The government had thanked civilian volunteers ferrying aid to La Guaira, which is the hardest hit area, which we're looking at now. But the government had then heavily tightened access to the road to La Guaira, saying traffic was preventing efficient movement of emergency vehicles and that only accredited people could use the roadway. Although the government has given a figure of hundreds missing or trapped, on a website promoted by the opposition, as I mentioned, there is just under 50,000 people listed missing. Yesterday on that website, it said 55,000. I'm hoping that, they can, maybe a bunch of people just haven't been in touch with relatives and friends and that number will come down. The leader of the Swiss rescue team told Reuters yesterday, there exists a window of roughly 3 days, 72 hours, where the probability afterwards decreases that you can save people alive. We're now at 93 hours or so. Wow. Reuters says that the 80-strong Swiss rescue team had found multiple people alive in the rubble thanks to alerts from their 8 search dogs, but had not been able to pull them out in time to save them, he said. How terrible. What a terrible detail. I'm going to mention that again. So again, the 80-strong Swiss rescue team had found multiple people alive in the rubble thanks to alerts from their 8 search dogs, but had not been able to pull them out in time to save them. The leader of the team added. That's from a story today from Reuters, who talked to him. Shine a Little Love says that had to be hard for the rescuers. Terrible. What is this? What is happening here? Give me 1 second. Hang on a moment. I'm just trying to do something real quick here. Why is this happening? This is crazy. I don't know what there's some people yelling about stuff.
Pero no sé, lo voy a preguntar así, pero...
I don't know if they found some. The people are running. Look, there's an ambulance too. Look at all the debris and devastation.
Ahí arriba, aquí arriba, donde está el carro, donde está ese que tiene, donde está esa bota, ahí está fundida. Y se deja al otro lado. Vete. Y está esa bota, ahí está con...
We'll see. It sounded like maybe they had found somebody. KTEB says looks like they found someone. You know, I wasn't even listening to what he was saying. I was looking at some stuff on the web. Our viewer said he told the ambulance to go to the other side. I didn't hear.
¿Y por qué? Una pregunta. Lo del enchufado, no se me movieron. Eso me lo robaron porque me caí con la moto y... Gracias, mi bro. Disculpa la pregunta. No, vale, tranquilo. Pana, ¿eres tú el que está dando comida para los perros? Una bolsita para yo echarte un poquito. Coño, te lo agradezco, pero ¿cómo hago? Yo te la bajo, tú dónde es que yo voy para los cocos, yo para allá y búscate a Eva. El restaurante de los cocos está muy bien coque, busca a Eva, que lo mandó mal. Te agradezco. Hola, mi niño, ¿cómo estás? Vente, de nuevo. Gracias, hermano.
Did the ambulance go somewhere else? I didn't really see. And it sounded like they may have found someone, but I'm not sure if they did. A lot of rescuers on that building. It is about 82 degrees there, I think. Hold on. 82 Fahrenheit. 28 Celsius. 75% humidity.
¡Buque! ¡Vamos!
One of our viewers said that they need some cranes there. You know, I know that, you know, they want to be careful when they use heavy equipment because you don't want to harm people who are trapped. At the same time, we see these piles and, you know, not a lot of progress is going to be made on the debris piles without something to lift some of those, you know, huge pieces of concrete. So here we're not really seeing them, the heavy machinery. Give the shot a moment. Periodically the feed freezes. Again, I don't really remember seeing, this is the first day where I've seen several live streams from La Guaira. AFP just posted, mom and teenage son rescued 4 days after the earthquakes. That's from AFP. Vasopated says, why are they just sitting there? Well, you know, there's clearly a bunch of rescuers there, but maybe at this point this limited what the rescuers can do. I mean, if there's not a lot of openings for them to search in, you know? Looks like possibly they have rescuers who don't have a place to search right now. Now, someone said listening. Well, there's also just kind of, it doesn't seem like there's total quiet there. So, I mean, they're talking and stuff. PGH City Kitty thinks they lack equipment. Wendy Land says need equipment maybe. But I mean, that's a lot of rescuers, and I'm sure they want to do stuff. Jasper's mom says you don't see how many are down under the rubble trying to access. It has been about 93 and a half hours. 93 and a half hours. The New York Times said today some residents of Caracas and La Guaira were sharing videos of survivors who said they were still waiting for authorities to help dig out their families. Yeah, I can't control. Sometimes the picture freezes. I mean, it's good that we're able to get this picture at all. We'll be talking about the Iran situation too. Wickedest Witch says any footage is remarkable in my opinion.
Arriba.
Está arriba. ¿Por dónde subió?
Por aquel lado. Escúchala. Está subiendo.
No, la que me trajo hasta aquí. La que estaba.
No sé, no la vi. No vi por dónde agarró, pues me descuidé, me fui por otro lado. ¿Corre para allá, verdad?
¿Para dónde? ¿Para atrás?
I'll also show you some more photos and videos later. Additional photos coming out and videos showing all the damage there. Terrible. Oh, hold on. I have some information, I think, from OCHA.
Bien, escúchame. Me perdí aquí abajo. Los primos míos no son ni Calanga, ni Yasael, ni nadie. Tengo como 4 horas perdido aquí buscándolo. Yo Nike.
Yeah, you know what's weird is
No jodas,
yesterday.
De los cocos, la vaina, pero aquí no veo a nadie. No estoy buscando para allá arriba, para la finca, para allá arriba, donde está la quinta. Y nada, no sé. Bueno, no lo puedes llamar para ver qué es lo que es. Me llaman aquí. A ver dónde están, porque puro digital, llama para ver que ellos tienen un wifi por ahí. Yandri, ese combo, dile que llamen a Yandri, dile que estoy por aquí cerca en toda la entrada de donde está la entrada. Que hay que cambiar nada, si me bajé de la moto, pues no están dejando pasar moto. Cuando volteo veo ellos salir, después cuando no volteo ya no estaban ellos.
I can't make out what he's saying. Some of our viewers might be
Llámalo a
able
ver, dile que estoy en toda la entrada de los cocos, en toda la entrada.
I couldn't make it out Sometimes I can make out the Spanish, but I couldn't make that out. Pepito says he is asking for someone. Davina says, where are the sledgehammers? Oh, one of the viewers, the one and only, he said, I'm in the entrance, but I can't find them. Call them and tell them I'm in the entrance. So I did notice that yesterday the death toll was 1430. And the latest I saw was, I think, 1450. So it had, the official death toll has not gone up much in the last day, but I mean, I don't know if it's the kind of thing where they're just not adding to the official death toll until they actually go through, until they actually find a body or something. Oh, hold on, we may have temporarily lost the feed. I'll keep an eye on it. The feeds have been going in and out. I wanted to show you something. I'll put the feed up when I get it back, but I wanted to show you a video that Reuters put out, a new one. Further live coverage is expected, it said. They might be moving the camera too. Give me a second, guys. Hang on, I gotta pull a couple things up here for you. Hang on. Here's a video. Ooh, a baby being rescued. You can see Reuters says 33 people rescued, thousands still missing after Venezuela quake. And they posted this video. This was the article I was reading from, I believe, earlier.
Rescue efforts are being expanded in Venezuela as foreign teams rush in to help quake victims. The death toll has surged, but 4 days on from the powerful double tremors, there is still hope of finding more people alive. Family members and volunteers have spent days pulling survivors out of the rubble in La Guaira and Caracas. But as this woman says, some areas don't have the heavy machinery needed to move the rubble out of the way. Following on from the 7.2 and 7.5 magnitude earthquakes, many families are now on the street. UNICEF estimates 3.9 million children were living in the areas hit by the double quakes. The government says hundreds of people are still missing or trapped, but more than 55,000 people are listed as unaccounted for on a website promoted by the country's opposition. The US Geological Survey estimates more than 10,000 deaths are possible. That would make this among Latin America's deadliest quakes of the last century. Rescue efforts are being...
Let me show you here also this. This is a still shot here from, is this from La Guaira? Oh, hold on. I'm going to go back to the live real quick. I just want to show you one shot real quick, then I'll go back to the live. This is a photo from La Guaira and an overhead photo. And just, you know, when you zoom in, you can see a lot of these photos, you zoom in and you realize, oh, it's even worse than it looked before I zoomed in. That looks like 3 buildings right there. That might be where these cameras are. I'm not sure, though. And then back, look at that. All these, and all these, and all of this, all the way through here. They just toppled over. Looks like there's another one maybe back here. Then maybe, I don't know if that's one back there. Yeah, just terrible. Jazzy Renee said the one on the right looks like it literally fell over. Hardlift says the damage there is insane. All right, we got the live guy. No, all the damage is not just in that one area. La Guaira is a state, not just a city, and there's numerous cities and towns in La Guaira with heavy damage. And there's damage in Caracas as well, which is not even in La Guaira, and other places. But La Guaira was the worst hit. But it's interesting, you know, it's like not every building went down, although there's a bunch of buildings that are still standing that have heavy damage too. Give me a moment here. You know, there was an Argentinian soccer player. Him and his family died. Oh, no, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't die. His family died. His wife and two children died. Lucas Trejo. Oh, we're hearing some yelling. So People magazine said that Lucas Trejo, who's an Argentinian soccer player who plays for a team, Deportivo La Guaira, which I assume is based in La Guaira. His team, he was with his team in Caracas when the earthquake happened, and his home looks to me, his wife and two children died in the earthquakes. I believe at their home. It's really terrible. Yeah, their apartment building reportedly collapsed. I mean, I was seeing I was watching some reports about on Spanish language media, some of those about the earthquake, and there's people who just lost like many relatives. It's really terrible. the official death toll right now is, I want to say, it's in the 1400s. Was it 1450 or 1480 or something? I have to look it up again, but it's expected to go much higher, sadly. $14.50 is the official death toll right now. I don't have a reliable estimate of the number missing. On a website where people are reporting missing people, roughly about 50,000 people are on that website as missing, but I don't know how reliable an indicator that is. Hang on a moment here. Donna D. thinks the older buildings had absolutely no earthquake building standards, no reinforced concrete nor steel supports. We read an article earlier in the broadcast from AP about the buildings. Among other things it said, it talked about how they talked to an expert who said they just don't have the more modern reinforcing steel connections that we put in these kind of buildings today. Since the 1970s, engineers have known that concrete buildings are particularly susceptible to earthquakes and seek to reinforce new construction with steel. While many rich nations have forced property owners to retrofit or tear down dangerous buildings, many poorer or middle-income countries have lagged in enforcing upgrades as they battled more immediate woes. The article also pointed out possible causes, contributing factors to buildings going down, as things like builders not adhering to best practices, many buildings were constructed on geography and soft soils that compound the danger of earthquakes. Older housing erected in the 1950s and 1960s may not have been retrofitted to survive such violent shaking. Also, the article talked about how some experts noted a number of buildings that collapsed had non-structural walls composed of heavy bricks, or they had soft stories in which their ground floors consisted of garages or open similar spaces. Such construction increases the risk of pancaking, they said. One expert they talked to said, if you combine softer soils with a soft story, buildings can collapse. Why is it true that if there's a soft story, it increases the risk of pancaking? Because it increases the risk of one story pancaking, and then the others won't be able to hold the weight. So I will say I asked Gemini AI, and it says that if you have a soft story, for example, like a less rigid story and weaker story, like a parking lot story at the bottom, then if that lower floor collapses, then the other floors will come straight down and slam into each other. But I'm sure there's a more technical explanation of it. Billy B says, this is sad to see. Unclev says, no heavy machinery. Not a lot in this area that we're looking at, and there's several buildings that are destroyed in this area. Did the camera move a bit? We have a helicopter coming in. The Los Angeles Times reported yesterday that for years, engineers have been concerned in Venezuela about that the country had buildings, tall concrete structures built on soft ground soil, and many of those structures lacked sufficient seismic reinforcement. And then an expert they talked to, a Venezuelan structural engineer who the LA Times talked to, said it was too early to draw final conclusions, definitive conclusions, for why the damage and death toll were so high. He said, though, that there are photos and videos seem to show some collapsed buildings higher than 15 stories with significant construction deficiencies and poor supervision during the construction phase. The LA Times talks also about how other factors contributing to the buildings, so many buildings going down, could be buildings built without accounting for local soft soil conditions. Also, insufficient oversight during the construction process due to weakened institutional supervision. You could have standards, but if they're not enforced, then maybe the builders don't stick to them. Also, the LA Times mentioned, like the AP article, another contributing cause, soft story buildings, where the ground floor is flimsier than upper floors, making it easier to topple. Like if you have an open ground floor. Also interesting is the LA Times article talks about how La Guaira is going to be a focus. That many questions remain about why La Guaira was so hard hit. And the president of the Venezuelan Geological Society told the LA Times that the fact that there were so many collapsed buildings in La Guaira is truly abnormal. Another possible factor that article in the LA Times cited is construction of buildings of all types with cheap materials and without proper permits. Also, possibly lack of building maintenance could go into this. Corruption regarding issuing of permits. The overall chaotic state of affairs in much of the government. So these are just some of these factors. Claudiot says soil liquefaction. I don't know if that relates to the soft soils. So the USGS said, has an article where they talk about shaking at a site with soft sediments can last 3 times as long as shaking at a stable bedrock site, such as one composed of granite. A soft, loose soil will shake more intensely than hard rock at the same distance from the same earthquake. The looser and thicker the soil is, the greater the energy movement will be, says USGS. One of our viewers mentioned liquefaction. I don't know to what degree that played a role here. That is where the USGS says loosely packed waterlogged sediments at or near the ground surface lose their strength in response to strong ground shaking. Yeah, so I mean, we've been watching this for a little while, and just to say again, there's several buildings collapse that we can see, large buildings, and there's barely been any heavy machinery here. I mean, you can see it. On this building, there aren't even many workers. I mean, look at how big the building is. Maybe multiple buildings. There's more workers back there. Now these people are looking in here. Forever Tinkering says liquefaction, how about greed? Zeta Physician says what an immense project. Sydney thinks it'll take years to recover. By the way, thank you to Cyan Brown, Eddie C. Yeah, Kingdom Pulse Records, thank you. I already spoke about that. I spoke about that earlier. Thank you, Kingdom Pulse Records. Eliza Jane. Chubaloo. Chubaloo believes dehydration is the biggest factor to anybody trapped in the rubble, and unfortunately it's been too long, Chubaloo thinks. AP had an article a few years ago about how long people can survive in the rubble of an earthquake. It said most rescues occur in the first 24 hours. Survival chances drop each day after that. Access to water and air to breathe are crucial factors along with weather. One expert told AP for this article, typically it's rare to find survivors after the 5th to 7th days, and most search and rescue teams will consider stopping by then. There are rare and extraordinary cases of people surviving past the 7-day mark. A BBC article from years ago also says several factors are key to survival, including water and air access. BBC article also said some estimates suggest the average that somebody can survive without water is between 3 to 7 days. CRT says they were finding people alive last night. It is about 94 hours now since the earthquakes hit. Chernobyl Gandalf says so many people just standing there talking. Again, I don't know if they're just, look at the car, there's an upside down car back there. But I just don't know that they might be limited because there's not the heavy equipment to, move larger pieces of debris. Haven't heard much today. I'm not aware of any new ships in the Strait of Hormuz that have been attacked. Keeping an eye on that situation. There's been some new fighting in southern Lebanon. And I'll mention that. The IDF said, do I have the message, the announcement from them? Let's see. Oh, hold on. We'll see if we get that back. The feed goes in and out. Further live coverage is expected. Yeah, I want to mention this IDF news that's coming out. Yeah, Manny Fabian says, the IDF demolished a large Hezbollah underground facility in the southern Lebanon village of Majdal Zun a short while ago, Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz announced. The tunnel, which ran some 200 meters and reached depths of over 25 meters under the village, was used by Hezbollah to assemble, store, and launch Iranian-made unmanned aerial vehicles, according to the military. In a statement, Netanyahu and Katz said that Israel updated the U.S. and the American representative in Lebanon ahead of the tunnel's demolition. Remember, Iran wants Israel out of southern Lebanon as part of the peace negotiations. The live stream is supposed to come back. But, you know, in case you didn't see it, I want to show you this again. Actually, this is a different video. I have a couple videos from earlier today that I'm going to show you. Bear with me here. Okay, so you can see this was earlier today. Reuters said death toll in Venezuela quake tops 1,400 as rescue efforts intensify. So one thing they have here looks to be, I think, a drone video. Oh, no, this is satellite images. I got to turn the sound off. Satellite images from before and after the earthquake show extent of damage. We watched a video like this. Hold on, why is this going like that? All right, yeah, so just as an example, that's in Maiquetía. Is Maiquetía in, is that in La Guaira? No, it's in the state of Vargas. It's near La Guaira. It's on the northern coast, not far from La Guaira state. Oh, no, it's in Vargas. Isn't Vargas in La Guaira? Hold on a second. I might be wrong. Oh, wait. Now I'm really confused. Is it the same state? Oh, Wikipedia says La Guaira state was known until 2019 as Vargas state. Vargas municipality is a municipality within La Guaira. So I guess this is technically in La Guaira. Maiquetía. But you can see, just as an example here, there's 2 buildings there. Yeah, look at this. These buildings in here. I think we were just looking at drone footage of this. I think we were looking at the video of this. I can put that up. You see how it's building, all these buildings destroyed in here? I think that's the same we were looking at earlier on that other video. Let's see here. Is it this one? Oh, no, it was a photo we were looking at before. I'm sorry. We were looking at a photo. This. I think that satellite photo was this area. Because you can see down here, look at this. It's all these buildings slowly going through. I mean, it's crazy. Look at that. And then there's this one that's tipped over. And these are damaged here, but it's like, I mean, that line, and look at other things here, that's collapsed, whatever that is there too. But it's on this line here. How many of these buildings on this line are just totally, they're like all flipped over. It's that one area. Mark says catastrophic. So, hold on. I was showing you some of the satellite photos. So what I was saying is, I think that might be this area here that we just saw in the video, because it looks like see the buildings running through here? I think it might be. Lynn Downey says it looks like a war zone or a tornado hit. Here's more. You see, like, you can see these buildings here. All right, and then I was going to show you, there's another video here, which we haven't seen yet. Let's look at this one.
A woman was rescued after spending nearly 72 hours trapped under debris from a collapsed building in the aftermath of Venezuela's deadly earthquakes. That's according to Spain's military emergency unit, which released this video on Saturday. She was carried out to waiting ambulances as onlookers applauded. Scenes like this are playing out across La Guaira, Venezuela's main coastal state, and one of the hardest hit regions after the twin earthquakes struck on Wednesday. Families, volunteers, and international rescue crews are racing to find more of the missing. Officials said more than 16,000 foreign rescuers had arrived and that additional teams were on the way. However, the overall response has been uneven, with heavy machinery scarce and some residents digging by hand through collapsed buildings in search of missing relatives. The scale of the disaster is still unclear. Venezuela's top lawmaker, Jorge Rodriguez, says the death toll has reached more than 1,400 people. Officials warn those numbers are expected to rise, and Rodriguez says scores of people are still missing. However, a website run by the country's opposition claims that more than 55,000 people are listed as unaccounted for. The U.S. Geological Survey has warned that more than 10,000 deaths are possible from the magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 quakes. That would rank them among the deadliest in Latin America in the last century.
Alla popolazione del Venezuela.
Pope Leo, speaking in Rome on Saturday, offered prayers for victims and said he hoped global solidarity with Venezuela would endure.
We're going to help them out.
The U.S. has committed $150 million in aid, and a senior official said a further 9-figure package is expected to be announced within days.
Yeah, just really terrible. Regarding the missing site, the missing site, I guess, organized by the country's opposition. Currently, the number missing on that site is 47,407. Hold on. I'll post a link to that site again. But that number is down. I mean, I think it was around 55,000 missing yesterday. Here, I'll post a link to this site in the chat. You can visit it if you'd like. It has pictures and descriptions of missing people. Oh, this person was found, it says. Located. You can see it also says status. This person was located in a hospital. The located status was reported through citizen participation and has not been officially verified, it says. Anyways, if you want to go through the site, you can go and look at the descriptions of the people. Very sad. So tens of thousands, about 47,000 still missing on that site. Okay, so we're supposed to get the live shot back shortly. I'd like to give you an update about Iran, if I can. I want to cover both things. Just bear with me for a second. But I haven't, no big, the last 2 days we've been on the air covering U.S. strikes on Iran after Iran on Thursday and Saturday, each day they attacked a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. Then the U.S. launched strikes on Iran. Then Iran retaliated. The first day by launching drones, and then last night by launching drones and missiles. But I have not heard of any kind of big developments with that today. But bear with me for a second. Let me peek at a couple things here. And as soon as I get the live back from Venezuela, I will put that on the screen for you. Expecting that shortly. Where is this? Oh, this is interesting. You know what I want to mention too? We were hearing about this last night during the Iran stream. We were hearing about like heavy military equipment in Baghdad and a possible arrests. Iraqi officials, including lawmakers, arrested on corruption charges in overnight raid. Dozens of Iraqi political officials have been arrested on corruption charges, Iraq's state-run Iraqi news agency reported today. This is what was going on last night. It said the arrests were based on a statement by former Deputy Minister of Oil Adnan al-Jumali, who was arrested last month and included members of parliament whose immunity had been lifted. Iraqi security forces sealed off all entrances to the capital's heavily fortified green zone early Sunday and carried out raids inside the compound that houses key government institutions and foreign embassies. The state news agency later reported that 47 people had been arrested in the corruption probe, but it was not clear if all of them were detained Sunday or if some of them had been arrested earlier. Some of the arrested lawmakers came from al-Sudani's Shiite political bloc and others from the Azam Alliance, an influential Sunni party. The specific accusations against them were not immediately clear. Now, this is interesting. The arrests are likely to have ripple effects across Iraq's fractured political landscape, where accusations of corruption frequently intersect with rivalries over power and influence. So I don't really know what this is about, you know. One of our viewers says, General Phantom says it seems quite a couple were pro-Iranian, but not all of them. See if I can get you a little more on that. I can show you right here. Hold on. Hold on. Again, waiting to get the feedback. You can see here from Reuters, Iraq detains politicians, officials in anti-corruption crackdown. I mean, is it really about anti-corruption or is it about something else? Is it about internal politics? Reuters says Sunday's operation was launched on the direct orders of Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi, who took office in May and had pledged to tackle entrenched corruption, which remains one of Iraq's most persistent challenges, despite repeated promises by successive governments to hold officials accountable. A senior source said some arrests stemmed from testimony by Adnan al-Jumaili, deputy oil minister for refining affairs, after his detention, with his statements allegedly implicating a wider circle of officials. And the article also says most senior Iraqi government officials maintain residences or offices inside Baghdad's Green Zone, which houses parliament, foreign embassies, and the prime minister's offices. Sources said several suspects fled before security forces arrived, prompting authorities to seal entrances to the Green Zone and launch a broader search. Greg thinks the Iraqi prime minister is arresting Iranians on orders of the U.S. government? I don't know that any Iranians were arrested. Yeah, so I don't have really a great sense of what that's all about. I wanted to mention it, though, as we wait to get the live shot back from the earthquake rescue operation. But I was going to talk a bit more about the situation with Iran. Here, this is what we were covering last night. Iran attacks Bahrain and Kuwait following U.S. strikes and threatens to halt talks. Iran also said overnight, that it was going to be more forceful when ships try to go through the Strait of Hormuz in a way that they have not approved. They attacked a ship on Thursday and a ship on Saturday, each time with a drone that I believe both times damaged the bridge of the ship, but they said they're going to be more forceful with those ships. You can see AP Iran again launched drone and missile attacks targeting Bahrain and Kuwait yesterday, early this morning, following new U.S. airstrikes against Iran, and threatened a complete halt in negotiations to end the war if Washington continues its attacks. Efforts to reopen the Strait of Hormuz without Iran's oversight has sparked days of crossfire. A multinational maritime body overseen by the U.S. said Saturday it would expand a route near Oman on the southern side of the Strait of Hormuz for inbound and outbound traffic, setting up a new flashpoint with Tehran. Oh, did Aragchi post on his social media, the foreign minister? Here, he did. Did he? Let's see. No, I don't see it on his social media. But according to AP, the foreign minister said today that Tehran alone must govern the Strait of Hormuz. Aragchi said any attempt to establish new or separate arrangements from those currently being carried out by Iran will only lead to further complications, delay the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and increase the level of tension. The global community has long considered the strait an international waterway, despite its location in Iran and Oman's territorial waters. In recent days, Iran has twice attacked vessels going through a route on the Omani side during an evacuation effort backed by a UN agency. Oops, hold on a second here. By the way, Pakistan had earlier said the talks between the U.S. and Iran that they're supposed to be talking for. There's supposed to be a 60-day period, which has already begun after the memorandum of understanding, for them to work out things like arrangements for the Strait of Hormuz, the removal of a U.S. blockade on Iranian ports, and sanctions on Iran in the long term, and the future of Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium. But Pakistan said the talks would resume on Tuesday. And remember that Iran's Revolutionary Guard had posted last night saying the following. Here's what they had said. Azizat thinks these talks will not resume on Tuesday. So they said that they had launched decisive missile and drone operations in response to U.S. aggression. Violating ships will be dealt with more forcefully than before. So they had claimed early this morning that the IRGC naval and air forces had destroyed 8 important infrastructures of the child-killing U.S. Army at the Ali al-Salam base in Kuwait and the 5th Naval Fleet in Port Salman, Bahrain, by launching ballistic missiles and drones at them, and decisively responded to the recent U.S. aggression. The aggressor enemy, whose very nature is to break promises and treaties, attacked 5 coastal posts of Iran early this morning under the pretext of the IRGC confronting the offending ship. The U.S. said they attacked Iran because Iran had attacked an oil tanker with a drone in the Strait of Hormuz earlier on Saturday. Iranian Revolutionary Guard said, according to the Memorandum of Understanding, Islamabad, Pakistan has arrangements to control traffic in the Strait of Hormuz with Iran. And from now on, violating ships will be dealt with more forcefully than in the past. So I'm waiting to see if other ships get attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. And any potential enemy aggression under any pretext, even if the aggressions are against minor targets, as happened last night and tonight, will have a crushing response from Iran. The enemy should know that violating the ceasefire when the U.S. attacks Iran, Iran says that's violating the ceasefire. Violating the ceasefire is against Article 1 of the Memorandum of Understanding and will lead to a complete halt of the negotiating process. So that happened earlier today. So I'm waiting to see. I'm not aware that the U.S. is stopping trying to get ships to leave from being trapped in the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. And the U.S. wants the Strait of Hormuz to be open. So I'm assuming more ships will try to go through there. I should check marine traffic. But I don't even know, though, the ships that go through the ship, one of the ships that was attacked in the last few days by Iran, we looked it up on marine traffic, and it had turned off. It wasn't trackable going through the Strait of Hormuz. It looked like it turned off its tracking when going through. So I don't know that we'll see. My guess is you won't see a bunch of ships that might be going through, because they might have turned off their tracking if they're going through without Iran's permission. I'll show you. We'll take a look at the last 12 hours or so, or 12 hours on marine traffic. 24 hours. There's marinetraffic.com right there. The ship tracking and marine analytics provider. Oops, what I want to do is this. Sorry. Oh, I don't have back yet. I'm waiting for, we're supposed to get, I think, are they live yet? No. Oh, I think we've lost all the live streams. All the live streams seem to have ended around the same time. Kind of early. But we first had lost the live streams from AFP and AP, which I barely saw. AFP had a stream. I'll show you some of what they were showing, but I think they were in Caracas. But AP was in La Guaira today. Oh, what I should do also is show you some of the earlier footage from La Guaira from I don't know if it was much different from Reuters. Anyways, but yeah, so I guess the live streams from Venezuela seem to be ended, unless another one pops up. But I'll keep an eye out. But let's just look at, I wanted to show you on marinetraffic.com the last 24 hours. But a reminder, so Iran wants ships to go through closer to Iran. The U.S. has been telling ships to go through closer to Oman. But if ships are going through the strait and they're trying to kind of sneak through without Iran attacking them, my guess is that they're going to be turning off their transponder or whatever it is. So there could be ships going through that we're just not seeing on marine traffic. Hold on a second here. So let's check this out. I'm going to go to the last day. So this is going to be the last, I might have to zoom in a little bit. Here. This is the last 24 hours. I want to zoom in, I think, a little more. This is the last 24 hours. I mean, there's a few ships going through, definitely. But when did some of these would be probably before the latest round of fighting. About 135 ships a day we used to pass through every 24 hours before the war. Now we're at about 16 hours, the last 16 hours coming up. See all those ships coming from down here? Look at all these ships. Look at all these ships. They're going in, though. They're going in, not coming out. Maybe going to load up. See, all those ships went the southern route. I wonder if Iran just let them, if even they just let them go through. They took the southern route. That was interesting. Those are all tankers. The red is the tankers. All right, we're at about the last 10 hours now or so of the Strait of Hormuz. The ships that are going on the northern route, presumably with Iranian permission, I don't know if they're paying Iran anything. I don't think they're not supposed to be. Yes, Iran has hit a cargo ship and an oil tanker on Thursday and Saturday, 1 and 1. And I believe they were both trying to leave the strait. Z-Line says, notice they're staying close to the Omani coast. Again, that is the prescribed route from, is it the joint? So there, that was the last 24 hours. It's the Joint Maritime Operations Center. Let's see. Here. The U.S. and some other countries, I think it's their navies, make up the Joint Maritime Information Center. Yes. Well, this says confirmed security incidents since last report, and this came out today. And you can see June 25th, container vessel near the Omani coast. Vessel was hit by an unknown projectile. This was reported to be a drone. Reported damage is 3 broken bridge windows on the starboard side with blast damage. The vessel proceeded without further incidents and has now cleared the wider Middle Eastern approaches. The next one was Saturday, near the Omani coast. Vessel was struck by a projectile believed to be a drone. There are no casualties. Damage to starboard bridge wing deck. Vessel continued to NPOC. Following the 2 attacks on vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz that were reported in the last 72 hours, the maritime security threat level for the Strait of Hormuz has been raised to substantial, with additional mine risk and persisting clearance operations ongoing. I'm just poking through here. I just want to mention something about the southern route too. Yeah, so this is the thing about the southern. This was June 18th from the Joint Maritime Information Center, which I believe the U.S. is one of the countries that's part of the Joint Maritime Information Center. So on June 18th, you can see that they said the Strait of Hormuz is now open and the blockade operations have ceased. This is after the Memorandum of Understanding. And you can see it says the southern transit route among along Omani territorial waters has been confirmed clear of mines and is the recommended route. So they were saying, hey, take the southern route. But Iran has said that route is not approved by Iran. And ships that take that route are not doing what Iran wants them to do and are breaking Iranian regulations. Now, we did see some ships take the southern route and pass through in the last 24 hours through the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if those are ships that Iran had approved doing that, or did Iran try to attack those ships? I don't know. Let me show you. There's a map from Institute for the Study of War that I can show you about that. Hang on. Here, look at this right here. This is from an Institute for the Study of War. I'll post a link to this report in the chat. This is a report from yesterday. So look, can you guys see this? There you go. Look at that. So this is the southern route here near Oman. This is the Iran asserted route that they want ships to take. So this is the strait. This is the coastline right here. Coastline here. Coastline here. Red is Iranian territorial waters. The darker blue is Omani territorial waters. Iran attacked a tanker off the coast of Oman that was presumably using the alternative route, the southern route, the alternative to Iran's illegitimate traffic separation scheme, which is here. Iran conducted a drone attack against Bahrain. This was the first of the This was a couple days ago, likely in order to try to deter the U.S. from undermining Iranian efforts to control the Strait of Hormuz. But that shows you there, again, the U.S. and other countries have told boats to take this southern route. But that's not the route that Iran wants them to take. Pre-war route was here kind of through the middle. Sunshine says that's why the ship yesterday was attacked. I believe both of the ships attacked in the last 3 days were taking the southern route, I believe. By the way, a quick thanks to, is the strait full of sea mines? It's an interesting question. I read something interesting about that last night. Remember that the joint, where was it here? The Joint Maritime Information Center had told ships the southern route has been confirmed clear of mines and is the recommended route, they said. But there's reports that there could be mines elsewhere. And I'll mention something about that in a second. I do want to thank our moderators. Haley Girl, Beth Mythical, and Ruth are all moderating over on YouTube. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Also, we have moderating. Hang on. On Twitch, Good Luck Duck, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, and Surly Dev are moderating there. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha on X. On Facebook, Kay Lowry Body, Paul Anderson, Darren Charlo. And also thank you to Hugs and Stuff for being a member. Rita for the memberships. Rita gave 5 gift memberships. If you get a gift membership from Rita or somebody else, or a gift subscription, please thank them. Thank you, Rita. Thanks, God Frieza, who says, I wonder how much money the military needs. Thank you to John L.A. 1776 says, reporter in L.A. praying for survivors from the earthquake. Retrofit, says John. Thank you, John. Thanks, Eliza Jane, our member. Eddie C., our member. Kingdom Pulse Records, thank you again. Cyan Brown, thanks for the memberships. Chubaloo, thank you. John McTavish. John says he went on a deployment to Cyprus with the RAF and was in Boston to watch his country Scotland at the World Cup. Thanks, John McTavish. I appreciate that. Gayla S., thanks for being a member. Also thanks to Daufim, who gave 5 gift subs on Twitch. Daufim, that's really nice of you. Thanks so much, and thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Thanks to Kindra Fox for your support on Twitch as well. Cece, thanks for subscribing. Top Buzz, thanks for subscribing on Twitch. Did I thank eBiker? Maybe, but I'll thank eBiker again. Hang on a moment here. Give me a moment. Oh, because I was asked, somebody said, one of the viewers had said, are there still mines? So I've read different things about it. I read an interesting article last night in the Financial Times. And the Financial Times article said, hold on, I need to just be able to view it here. The Financial Times article said that a top shipping executive warned that the presence of mines means shipping through the Strait of Hormuz will operate at less than half of pre-war levels for months, even if a peace deal holds. This was the chief executives of Japan's NYK Line, that operates a shipping company that operates more than 900 vessels. He says that the current routes available for navigation are extremely limited, narrow corridors. Also, the International Maritime Organization Secretary General said Friday that Iran is estimated to have laid about 80 mines in the main shipping lanes. And interestingly also, the Financial Times said because of the concern over the mines in the main shipping lanes, which might be the lanes in the middle here, the Financial Times says that leaves 2 other narrower routes available. One close to Larak Island, there's Larak up here, and the Omani, the southern route close to Oman. So it's not exactly clear, but certainly shippers seem to be worried about mines. And again, very interestingly, this head of this big Japanese shipping company told the Financial Times recently that the presence of mines means that shipping through the Strait of Hormuz will operate at less than half of pre-war levels for months, even if a peace deal holds. Just out of concern about the mines, because I guess the routes, the northern and southern routes, are narrower than the main route. Which I thought was interesting. Evelyn Main says, even though the southern route exists, it's not open, it's not safe, and it's not cleared. Well, the southern route is cleared of mines, but a couple of ships have been attacked on that route. You know, the U.S. and other countries were recommending that shippers go through that southern route. But now in the last 4 days, 2 ships have been attacked on that route. OMP Cyclops says, are we bombing Iran back to peace? Give me a moment here. Just checking a second for update. Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. Oh, by the way, Axios is reporting that Barak Ravid of Axios says that the U.S. and Iran have agreed to halt the mutual attacks in the Strait of Hormuz and hold a meeting on Tuesday. All right, hold on. I have an update here. All right, so new reporting from Axios. Now, our viewer TV's Frankenfurter says, typical Axios, 1 hour before futures opening report by Ravid every single weekend. So the oil markets open in an hour. This report came out about a half an hour before, a half an hour ago by Axios and Barak Ravid. By the way, thanks to Mystical Buddha Cake Shop. Elizabeth, thank you, Elizabeth from the Mystical Buddha Cake Shop. I really appreciate that. Thank you. By the way, while let me, rather, just so you don't have to constantly look at me so much, let me put up on the screen here the current marine traffic view of the Strait of Hormuz. And maybe I'll put the clock up. Just need a second here. Where is this? Why can I not find this? Let's see. Where did I put the clock? Oh, I see. I know what happened. Hang on one sec. I did it. I have to just do this. Okay. All right, I'm putting the clock up right. The clock's right there. There it is. Okay. 12:29 a.m. All right. So here's what, oh, by the way, thank you so much, Thomas P0419 for the memberships. That's so nice of you, Thomas. Thank you. Thomas gave 20 people memberships in the YouTube chat. So let's talk about this new report from Axios. Axios, about a half hour ago, Barak Ravid says U.S. and Iran agree to halt strikes and meet this week, U.S. official says. Now, it's a little strange because it says U.S. and Iran agree to halt strikes. But the reason the strikes were happening is because twice Iran attacked ships going through the Strait of Hormuz. So I would expect there will be more. The strikes didn't come out of nowhere. The recent strikes the last few days came out of Iran attacking ships in the Strait of Hormuz and then the U.S. attacking Iran. So is Iran agreeing to not attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz? I don't know. Let's see. A U.S. official told Axios, we decided to stop all the kinetic activity. Oh, A second U.S. official tells Axios both sides will stand down for now and that vessels can move freely as technical talks are set to continue. Is that true? Can vessels really move freely through the strait? I'm going to take some comments from you guys. Hold on. Hang on. What is happening here? Give me 1 second here. Ah, I fixed it. I fixed it. Hang on a moment. Hang on one moment. All right. So again, our viewer JK Cinar says same song and dance. Is that what JK said? I'm trying to find the comment. It flew by. Same song, fifth verse. Could get better, but going to get worse. That's what JK thinks. I Wastery says ceasefire until next weekend. Insider traders have to make a living next week too. Melissa Terry says, sometimes I don't think they know what they're saying. How can they say the same stuff over and over? Sherry Smith says, rinse and repeat. Frosty Dog says, I'll bet $100 that Iran will post a contradicting headline before 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Dow Theme says, just weekend shenanigans. So, hang on a moment here. I wrote this, says, this is frigging unbelievable. Hey, thanks to Jesus UCSB, who thinks it's Market Manipulation Sunday. So Axios again is reporting, about a half an hour ago. They say that they claim the U.S. and Iran have agreed to stop attacking each other and that they will meet on Tuesday. And also that both sides are standing down for now and vessels can move freely as technical talks are set to continue. It said the talks they're going to be in Qatar's capital, not Switzerland. And they're going to focus on the Strait of Hormuz. That's what it says, that the talks are going to be on Tuesday, start on Tuesday to work out their dispute over the Strait of Hormuz. Is this true? I don't know. Josh Z says oil markets open in an hour. JK says this is a recording. Uncle Fester says it seems like they're constantly negotiating about when to negotiate. Shadowfall says they really, really mean it this time. Is anyone else reporting that? I don't know. It just so happens that but it is, it is, as you guys have been pointing out, a number of you, close to when the oil markets open again. Caddy Connie says, I wouldn't believe anything Iran says. Let me check and see if there's anything from Iranian state media about this. Give me a second. Check, see what they're saying. I'm checking some of the Iranian state media posts right now to see if they're commenting on this report of talks. I haven't seen anything yet. Let me just show you this. This is from Iranian state media Fars. This was posted about an hour ago from Iranian state media Fars. Look what they said, which I think is tied to the Revolutionary Guard. The strait is under Iran's control. The maritime traffic tracking account, Manj Osint, says that according to clauses 2 and 5 of the Iran-U.S. Memorandum of Understanding, the responsibility for managing the Strait of Hormuz lies with Iran. Fars News says, for a few days, the U.S. and Oman have been trying to expand a route other than Iran's route in the Strait of Hormuz. The IRGC Navy has warned that the only safe route is the Iranian route. And the Persian Gulf Waterway Management Authority, which Iran created during the war, I believe, to manage the Strait of Hormuz, has also warned violators of the consequences of not following this warning. After these warnings, the 2 violating ships were targeted, and the U.S. attacked southern Iran, which was met by a response from Iran's armed forces. So they're saying they control it. Magdalena thinks Iran's boasting is going to get into a whack bed of trouble. They are way too confident. A saved man says Iran wants high gas prices. Well, it seems like they want to charge fees for ships going through the strait ultimately. I don't know. Let's see if I have any other updates from Iranian media about this. But I haven't seen anything in Iranian state media yet saying that they've agreed to stop any fighting and stop attacking ships in the Gulf, in the strait, and meet on Tuesday, which is what Axios is claiming. I mean, to me, that's like the one of the biggest claims that Axios is making. As I mentioned, Axios says a U.S. official told them that ships can now move freely in the strait, which has not been the case the last few days. Brad Buckingham thinks this is really two trash talkers that don't actually want to fight. Fred Withrow says meat on Tuesday and fish on Friday. Do you mean fight on Friday? Is it a typo, Fred? I don't know. Give me one other second here. I'm going to see if I can get you any other updates about this situation. So I have no idea about that Axios report. I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't see anything about Iranian media. I haven't seen anything about it yet in Israeli media, any independent reporting either. I'm checking some different outlets here. Oops, why are you looking at me? Look at that. Also, when is the oh, look at this. Oh, what is this? I don't know what to make of this. What was this thing? Hang on. I wasn't aware that there was supposed to be negotiations today, but I did see this in Iranian state media in Mehr News. Mehr News Iran said reasons for the cancellation of today's technical negotiations between Iran and the U.S. I wasn't aware there were going to be. Fazeli, member of the Office of Preservation and Publication of the Leader's Works, today's technical negotiations were canceled by Iran and we did not participate. The first reason for this cancellation is the recent night clashes, and the second reason is waiting for the implementation of some conditions, such as the possibility of withdrawing blocked funds. That doesn't say anything about Tuesday's negotiation. Tuesday's reported talks. Maybe what we'll do, maybe I'll commit to staying on until the oil market opens, at least. I don't know if anything big's going to happen before then. But we're only at basically 45 minutes till the oil market opens. So we'll at least stay on and we'll see what happens with that. What I need to do is put the clock up, though. Citizen John Public says, a deal like no one's ever seen before. It's going to be huge. So what I'll do is, hang on. I'm going to put the countdown clock up for you guys. Oil markets open in. Look, we have our oil markets countdown clock. So we'll at least see what happens with them. Skolster says never-ending war in progress. Thanks, Hugs and Stuff, our member, by the way. I don't know if I thanked you before. If you missed it, we spent a bunch of time earlier in the stream. We had live footage from La Guaira, Venezuela. We talked a bunch about the earthquakes. If I see anything big on that, I will let you know. Hold on a second here. Avmail thinks that oil markets won't move more than a few percentage. No one has any idea what is happening. Why would it crash or spike? Well, I mean, there's been fighting, right? There was fighting yesterday and this morning. Iran has attacked, 2 ships in 4 days in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran threatened this morning to be more forceful, act more forcefully against ships trying to go through the strait in a way that has not been planned with them. So in theory, I would think that could cause some concern in the oil market. Yeah, and like Wall Street Journal has a headline right now that says Iran asserts sole control of Hormuz, warns challenges will bring more violence. We already talked about this. The foreign minister made comments today at a news conference. I wonder, do I have that? Is there any chance I have video of that news conference? And if so, is it in English? Let me just see. I don't know that it would be in English. Okay, I actually do have video of the news conference. All right, let me look. So the Iraqi and the Iranian foreign ministers had a news conference today in Baghdad. So what I'm going to do is check. My guess is it's not in English, but let me see if he answered any questions in English. I need a second here to check it. But he said at this news conference, the foreign minister of Iran, that Iran has the exclusive right to manage traffic in the Strait of Hormuz, and attempts to circumvent its authority risk triggering more attacks on ships. And then the Wall Street Journal says those are among the clearest comments by a top official in Iran that they expect sole authority over the strait under a negotiated deal to come with the U.S. Under the memorandum, I guess. Well, under the memorandum of understanding that's already signed. And the U.S. does not agree that the memorandum gives Iran control of the strait, sole control. Yeah, they've said that kind of thing before. I don't know in terms of well, I've seen this kind of thing said, but I don't know the specifics of who said what. I've seen it in statements from like the Revolutionary Guard. What I am doing is getting this video of the news conference to see if they speak any English in it. Yeah, Aragchi said today the management and full restoration of maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz is Iran's responsibility. No other country or entity has any responsibility or authority in this matter. Now, the actual language in the Memorandum of Understanding says, upon the signing of this memorandum, Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only from the Persian Gulf to the Sea of Oman and vice versa. That's through the Strait of Hormuz. The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start, and considering the need for removing the technical and military obstacles and demining by Iran will be instated within 30 days. Iran will conduct dialogue with Oman to define the future administration and maritime services in the Strait of Hormuz. In discussion with other Persian Gulf coastal states, in line with the applicable international law and the sovereign rights of coastal states of the Strait of Hormuz. All right. Is any of this in English? Hold on. This is the news conference today from AFP. Hold on.
حرب هي الأولوية عراق است. هدف دوم صفحه یا کشور دیگری وليس قرب إلى عمليات.
I don't have a translated version. No. So this is not going to help us.
و بعد از
That's not going to help us. I wonder if they posted it in Iran on their foreign ministry site. Let's see. Hey, only 37 minutes to the oil market's open. I don't see an update on the foreign ministry site. So no transcript or anything. Phoenix B. Rising thinks Iran is full of it. Oh, I did want to show you this. I had missed this before. Thanks for letting me know about this. While we were on the air, I think I missed this. Thanks to John Parnell for mentioning it. Hey guys, President Trump did post on Truth Social about a couple, like 2.5 hours ago, but not about Iran. Let me show you what he posted. It's kind of hard to fit on the screen. So I want to read through this with you. Yes, reflecting pool. Mad Dog mentioned that. That's part of it. Okay. He says, I just returned from a tour of various statues, monuments, fountains, and most importantly, an old and rundown golf course located throughout Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Almost all of the statues, monuments, and fountains have been completely renovated and restored and are in, after suffering years of graffiti, abuse, and vandalism, perfect shape. They are truly beautiful, even nicer than the day they were built. The reflecting pool is now in full use, he claims, after suffering great damage from criminal radical left vandals, he claims. People that truly hate our country. They cut the lower surface of a very expensive and strong waterproof padding in the color of the American flag, blue, and put their hands underneath the surface and ripped it. Likewise, they cut and butchered a 350-foot long strip, he claims, with as many as 1 and 2 foot individual cuts, creating great damage to this beautiful piece of art that was last week 100% free of leaks and any of the other problems it has had since its building in 1922. It never worked properly until last week, and right after July 4th, when we will drain the water to treat the damage caused by these animals, it will be again in perfect shape. In the meantime, it is working well. The criminally made algae, he claims, is gone, and the grass which was destroyed is being replaced shortly. The visit to Lafayette Park opposite the front entrance of the White House, which is now complete except for a replacement of some of the original pavers, was wonderful. Lafayette Park has not looked so good since its inception in 1820. Most important on today's visit, however, was the Secretary of the Interior and his people, together with me and my staff, studying the dilapidated, worn out, and very dangerous and outdated golf course known as East Potomac Golf Links. Tom Fazio, the great golf course architect, and his son Gavin participated on the tour with us, whereupon it was determined that on this fantastic site, with water and unparalleled views of DC's monuments, we will build one of the greatest golf courses anywhere in the world, which importantly will also be made available to the public. When completed, the course will have the ability to host major golf tournaments, including the US Open, the Ryder Cup, the PGA Championship, and other top PGA Tour events. Many of the trees are badly damaged from years of neglect, putting people in great danger from falling branches and the trees falling themselves. Additionally, the sprinkler system is gone. There is no filtration, and the remaining sprinklers are incapable of even doing 10% of what is needed. The grass is largely dead. The greens are virtually unplayable, and the course is in very poor general condition, but after many years of horrendous maintenance and little money devoted to the process of upkeep, we have determined that this location can bring tremendous success and prestige back to Washington, D.C., along with what we have already done with respect to the lowest crime numbers in many years and the fixing of 73 of our most important statues, monuments, and fountains. The course is virtually unplayable. Work on the new course, which will go quickly, will begin on September 1st. Tom Fazio will be the course architect. It will be built through the Department of the Interior and designed to the highest standards of golf, but also in such a way that the general public will love it. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was Trump's post. Sorry, I didn't realize that had come out. Came out while we were on the air. About 2.5 hours ago. Okay, so I just want to share that with you. One of his longer posts. Meadow Rain says, is he renaming the golf course? That I don't know. Marek Z-Man says, sounds good. Sepiv says, how does this affect most Americans on a daily basis? We have much bigger issues to resolve. All right, so I wanted to just mention that that had been posted. We're only 28 and a half minutes until the oil market opens. We are going to see what happens with the oil market. Thank you, Jewel Marie. Jewel Marie, I already talked about the apparent reported corruption arrests in Iraq last night. You can rewind. We talked about it a bunch, well, for about, 10 minutes or so earlier in the broadcast. You can rewind and check that out. Thanks you, Jewel Marie. I appreciate it. Also, Chris Huntsman, our member, Battery Hookup, who says, my wife and I negotiated a memorandum of understanding on what to have for dinner later. She already broke it. Please help me negotiate a ceasefire. Let's see here. All right, let's check for updates. And take some more of your comments here. Again, unfortunately, well, we had live from Venezuela for a while, and then all the lives stopped. So I showed you what I could, but I don't believe any of them have come back. Doing a quick check here to make sure. I'm not seeing them right now. Nope. Sorry, give me a second. I'm just checking to see if we have any updates. To repeat, Axios is reporting that Axios is claiming that, oh, hold on a moment here. Hang on a moment here. I need a moment. To repeat, Axios is saying that Iran and the U.S. have agreed to not attack each other, and that before Tuesday, and that they're going to meet on Tuesday to discuss the Strait of Hormuz situation and negotiate about it, and that Iran and that ship traffic is now moving freely through the Strait of Hormuz. I don't know if any of that is true, but that came out about an hour ago from Axios. I haven't seen that other places. Oh, I do want to thank a couple people. Hold on. We're gonna stay on at least until the oil markets open. Excuse me. Zach and Cody thinks Taco Tuesday. Oh, maybe we should talk about the briefly about the helicopter crash in Saudi Arabia. Just give me a moment here. Just give me one moment. A quick thanks to our Twitch subscribers, people like Susan CHF, The Ouch House, Simp Nasty, Oshi Matt, T Wiki, Wall Street Shaggy, Mr. Clam, E-Biker, Grumpy Jones is our viewer, but thank you, Grumpy Jones, for watching. Night Owl, our subscriber, My Mind Spray, and all of our other subscribers over there. Thank you. Dowfeem, and thanks Dowfeem for the gift subs again. Our subscribers on Facebook like Dolly Clark and Diane Allworth and Kay Lowry Body. And also, I want to shout out our YouTube members real quick. We have people like Bad Panda, David Joe Klotz, Lolly Lollipop, Chris the Toffee, Sabra. Thanks for being members. For Jesus 1981 or for Jesus 1981. Donda, thanks for being a member. FemSY, Hi-Fi Beef. Gary Baines, Paps 000, Roy 1822, Kimberly Geiger. Thanks to all of our members. Donda, thank you. All right, now, I did want to mention there was a in case you didn't see it, there was a helicopter crash of the Saudi National Oil Company. Here, hold on. You can see here, oops, that's from the Saudi Energy Ministry. It says, Saudi Aramco, which is their state oil company, helicopter crashes, all 14 passengers killed. Terrible. Condolences to their families. They say at 6 a.m., a Saudi Aramco helicopter crashed in Ras Tanura. The accident resulted in the martyrdom of all 14 passengers. The source explained investigations are underway with the participation of relevant authorities to determine the causes of the helicopter crash. Doesn't say anything about the cause. And let's see here. Is anyone else reporting on it? Bloomberg says Ras Tanura is where this happened, is at the center of, it has the country's biggest refinery and critical oil export infrastructure. You know, that's one of these things. It's like this weird story where it's terrible that this helicopter crashed. It crashed. It's a Saudi oil company helicopter. We don't know who was on it. And I mean, I'm assuming it was just an accident, but if there's anything else sensitive about it, we might not hear that for days. Fred Withrow says martyrdom sounds ominous in regard to an accident. Well, they might just use that. That might just be the word they regularly use in that situation. I don't know that they. I've seen no reporting that it's not a word that they wouldn't normally use. So I don't know about that. But if I hear anything, I'll let you know. And all the victims were Saudi nationals. Yeah, so I don't know. It's, we don't really know any more details about that. Then there was another, so that happened. Then there was this, which was kind of strange. I saw this too earlier today. Look at this. Oh yeah, Greg says that Ras Tanura is 70 miles or 80 miles by road to the northwest of Bahrain. I'll show you. We should be able to see it on this map right here. Here, hold on. Here's Saudi Arabia down here. Can I find it on here? Ras Tanura. See, it says Ras Tanura there. And there's Qatar and there's Bahrain. Can I do a distance thing here? Let's see. Distance from here to Ras Tanura. Looks like about maybe 50 miles. Well, a nautical mile is what, 1.15 land miles? Oh, you said, well, anyways, about 50 miles northwest of Bahrain, I believe, is where Ras Tanura is. There's Ras Tanura, but a major energy location. So I don't know what happened there. It's terrible, but I don't, is there anything more to it than was it just an accident? I don't know. And then Doug Jerido, our viewer, says they use the word martyred for deaths in the Middle East, for any deaths. That I'm not sure of. I want to show you the thing about Qatar, Ministry of the Interior. Now, this was an odd. Look at this. This is from the Qatar Ministry of the Interior today. I don't know what this is about. Hang on. Okay. So the Qatar Minister of the Interior said, the Ministry of the Interior clarifies that as part of routine monitoring and verification procedures for maritime vessels conducted by the General Directorate of Coast and Border Security, it was noted that a vessel with 2 individuals on board had failed to return at its scheduled time. Maritime patrols immediately initiated search operations last night, Saturday night. In the early hours of Sunday morning, the Maritime Search and Rescue Team located the missing vessel. Search operations confirmed that a Qatari citizen was killed, after sustaining injuries from shrapnel resulting from the military operations in the area. An Arab resident was also injured and has been transferred to the hospital for medical treatment. So what military operations were happening, I guess, near Qatar off the coast that caused shrapnel to kill someone on a boat, a Qatari citizen? Just confusing. Now, I'm not aware that Iran fired anything at Qatar early in the morning. Was this some sort of accident? Retired Ricky says used as target practice. I mean, I'm wondering, were there some kind of military exercises in the region? But if there was that going on, you'd think that they just wouldn't let the boat go near it. And again, they say it's from shrapnel. Justine says mine. Well, Qatar, let me just show you what we're talking about here. Anti-aircraft fire? Yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole thing is strange. Here, look. So here is, I don't know exactly where this happened. But Qatar is here. Now, I will say that, I mean, Iran had fired missiles and drones at Bahrain last night. So, I mean, that's pretty close to Qatar. Something I was thinking of is it possible that an Iranian drone or missile got shot down, or an interceptor, or whatever, that shrapnel fell on the people or something, maybe? I don't know. I mean, that's not close enough. Iran has possibly mined the Strait of Hormuz, but that's all the way over here. It's hundreds of miles away from here. Iran is over here. Am I going to have to time somebody out again? Hold on a second here. Yeah, I'm timing somebody out. I'll tell you why. Where is it? The mods might have already got the person. Yeah, somebody said sirens in Beirut, which I've heard nowhere. I don't know that I've ever heard about sirens in Beirut. Sometimes, Israel will issue a warning, but I've heard of no such thing. The person did not post a source. Once in a while, the last couple of days, people have been posting this just false stuff in the chat, claiming like sirens in Israel, which was just false. So I time the people out when I see it, but I think the mods might have already gotten it because I don't see it anymore. Yeah, but we don't allow that kind of stuff. Yeah, Ruth says with no source. Yeah, so I don't know what's up with that Qatar story of the person who got killed on a boat by shrapnel because of Qatari military activity. Okay, so we're going to wait until 12 minutes from now, the oil market opens. So I told you that we would stay on at least until the oil market opens so you can see what happened with the oil market. And I'm obviously very interested in seeing if there's really going to be no attacks involving Iran in the next couple days, like Axios is claiming tonight, so they can meet on Tuesday and discuss the Strait of Hormuz. Trying to check some of the comments that people have sent in too. Give me a second here. Alex Malarkey, our viewer, thinks talks are a waste of time. That's what Alex thinks. What is this here? Hold on a second. Alex thinks that Iran is using the Islamic doctrine of taqiyya, which I know nothing about. I asked Gemini, who claim it's a Islamic legal doctrine that permits a believer to conceal their faith amid religious duties or outwardly lie when facing imminent danger, persecution, or death. Encyclopedia Britannica mentions that. I'm not going to get into all this now. I mean, I haven't heard. That's not something I've heard reported, but that's what Alex thinks. Alex thinks the talks are a waste of time. Thank you, Alex, for writing in. Now, our viewer, Respect, mentioned that Iran International has a story from earlier today claiming that Iraq arrest officials tied to Iran-aligned parties and Baghdad raids. As I mentioned, I was reading you an article earlier saying that some Shiites and some Sunnis had been arrested in these there were a bunch of supposedly corruption investigations. Corruption arrests in Iraq overnight. The two articles I read before did not say anything about it seeming to be concentrating on pro-Iran officials. I will say also, I would have to do more on this. Iran International is an outlet that is, I believe, they cover Iran stuff, but their bent is anti-regime. They are based in the UK. They are funded by Saudi Arabia, by the way, according to Wikipedia. Wikipedia says they actively promote Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi as the next leader of Iran, next ruler of Iran. So again, I don't have a lot of details on this Baghdad stuff. The headline on this Iran International story says Iraq arrests officials tied to Iran-aligned parties in Baghdad raid. Sources say we had read articles earlier from, I think it was both Reuters and AP, that did not mention that there was an obvious targeting of pro-Iranian officials in Iraq. So I would have to see more. Yeah, so AP said some of the arrested lawmakers came from the from al-Sudani's Shiite political bloc, and others from the Azam Alliance, an influential Sunni party. But there may be more. Certainly, there may be more going on that I don't know about. But thank you for writing in. Who was that I mentioned? Now I can't even find who sent me that. I can't find it. Michelle Lauzon says people are dying for Trump's golf course. I'm not exactly sure what Michelle's reasoning is for that. Your brave soldiers are dying for his golf course? That's what Michelle wrote in. Thanks, Michelle, for writing in. Craig Doherty sent me an unconfirmed report from a couple hours ago of claiming there were possible missile interceptions over Jordan and or Syria from Faytuck's network. I haven't heard any kind of other reporting about that since then. That's the first I've heard of it, and I've heard nothing in the last couple of hours about that. So that's all I can really say about that. Only about 5 minutes until the oil market opens. All right. Let's see if we have any other updates. But we're going to show you. We're going to show you the oil market opening up. Oh, Michelle says, I was trying to say that people in the U.S. are having financial troubles and your brave soldiers are fighting Israel war for nothing but the cost of their lives. That's what Michelle said. Hey, 3 minutes and 40 seconds until the oil market opens. Let's take a quick look at TradingView. All right, so this is TradingView, tradingview.com, but you can see that the oil market is not open because it's still stuck on. This is it's the 26th. So Brent crude is 73.61. WTI US crude is 70.25. So, oh, where's my clock? Where did my clock go? Hold on. Okay, 2 minutes and 41 seconds. All right, I didn't do a poll, sorry. I could have done a poll about this, but if you have any predictions on how different or not different it might be when it opens up, you have about 2 minutes to put them in the chat. I'm seeing I'm seeing some unrealistic predictions that I think are probably jokey. Some people think up. Oil up or down? We're at 156. Maybe it'll. Nope, it's not working yet. What'll happen is instead of being, it'll be a new day, so it'll start right at the all this will go away because this is the last day's graph here. Flat, 75, 69.60, 71.50, 75, 76. Melissa Terry says down. Mia says 71. Only 118. We'll go with Brent crude for now. All right, 1 minute. Flat 74.78. 67.70. 45 seconds coming up. 46, 45 seconds. $80? I'd be shocked if it was I'd be shocked if it's a huge difference either way, but we'll see. We have 30 seconds. Looking at tradingview.com. 20 seconds. 15. 10. 5, 2, 1, 0. All right, is it open? It is, okay, it is up a little bit. It is up, it's 73.90. Now it's moving. It's almost the same. Up 0.11%. It's basically even. It's basically even. It is at 73.71, which is up 0.14%. Not much of a difference. How about the WTI crude? Similar, up a very slight amount. And are stock futures open now? Am I getting this right? Yeah, that's NASDAQ future. Don't look at the number though. The number's a little confusing, the percentage number. I'll mention stock futures from what I can tell, if I have this right, because NASDAQ closed at 29,118. The futures are basically unchanged for NASDAQ. I know the futures are for NASDAQ futures are basically unchanged right now. S&P futures are barely changed at all from the close on Friday. And Dow futures, I'm looking at here, they're up a slight bit, like 0.2%. So stock futures in the U.S. are not very different. Oil looks like it's at, Brent crude is down a little bit. Mia says traders not trusting Axios. I don't know. I mean, you might say that if traders thought that there was going to be a lot more fighting, maybe the price of oil should be higher. I don't know. It's not really doing much either way. Not very different, but it's back open. Deadwing says too expensive still. By the way, you know what I wanted to mention? I did want to mention something. If people want to look at it, and I didn't mention this before when we were talking about the earthquake. If you missed it, we spent the whole first part of the stream talking. We had a live feed, a couple live feeds. Well, mainly one live feed from La Guaira, where the worst hit part of Venezuela. But I did want to mention that Mitchell Ulrich, who does geo-confirming of things, he posted an interesting thread, which you can read, like a day ago. You can see at Mitchell Ulrich. At Mitch_Ulrich. You can see it on your screen. And he said, this was posted last night. He said, over the past 24 hours, using videos and images on scene and Vantertech satellite imagery, I've mapped 295 collapsed structures across the Venezuelan coast. And he describes what he sees in particular areas and posts some maps with structures on them. And he's using, again, like videos and photos that have been in the news and satellite photos he's got his hands on to try to figure out where some of these destroyed buildings are. Anyways, I'm going to post a link to this thread. But I wanted to mention it. I thought some of you might be interested in it. He also said partial collapse is included. While most are total collapses, there are a handful where the building only lost the ground level. I am counting that as a collapse. Furthermore, for residential buildings, roof collapse is also counted. He did say 163 destroyed buildings are documented in the neighborhoods Playa Grande and Playa Verde, adjacent to the Simón Bolívar International Airport in Maiquetía, Venezuela, which I believe is in La Guaira. Anyways, let me post a link. And again, he's not saying that's all the buildings. He's saying that's ones that he's been able to verify through the footage and photos he's seen. So again, you can check out his site if that interests you, or check out his thread. And it's at Mitch_Ulrich on X. Oh, by the way, quick thanks to Fred Witherow. Hey, Fred, thanks for all your support. Fred on X. Thank you, Fred. I really appreciate that. Fred Witherow, thank you. I'm just seeing if I have any big updates at the moment. Press TV, which is Iranian state media, they posted and said, Axios reports that Iran and the U.S. are going to meet in Doha, Qatar Tuesday. No official confirmation yet. We have not heard confirmation of that from the Iranian side. Also, part of what Axios is claiming is that Iran and the U.S. have agreed to cease hostilities and cease fighting until Tuesday. And also, which would imply that it would also suggest that Iran is not going to attack any ships through the Strait of Hormuz before they meet on Tuesday. But that has not been confirmed as far as I'm aware by the Iranian side. I've heard no confirmation of that. And I just showed you that their state media Press TV said no official confirmation yet. Thanks to our member, Chris Huntsman, by the way. Thanks, Donda, for being a member. I think I might have thanked them before, but thanks again. All right. So let me just see if I have anything else here that I wanted to mention. Oh, let me just show you a little more about what Iran said today about the Strait of Hormuz. Hold on a second here. Hang on. Here, so the Washington Post says, oops, we don't need the clock anymore. The Washington Post says, Iran insists it has sole control of Hormuz, ignoring Trump's threats. Iran insisted today that it had a right to full control of the Strait of Hormuz, brushing aside President Trump's threats, was it yesterday or the day before, to complete the job of the war he launched 4 months ago if Tehran did not relent on the waterway. Despite a ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, the two countries have traded attacks since Thursday after an Iranian strike, after two different Iranian strikes on two different commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. At the heart of the ceasefire deal reached this month was an agreement to allow safe passage of vessels through the strait, which Trump hopes will relieve strains on the U.S. economy resulting from increasing prices of energy and other goods. The two countries accuse each other of violating the agreement, which causes for an immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts and for all parties to refrain from the threat of the use of force. Okay. Today, the Iranian foreign minister said that the Strait of Hormuz said that the management and full reopening of the Strait of Hormuz is Iran's responsibility. He said any intervention or attempt to create arrangements contrary to the existing understandings will only complicate the situation, delay the return of normalcy to the Strait of Hormuz, and increase tension. Araghchi said Iran is working on reopening the strait so that it reaches its pre-war capacity within 30 days, a timeline in keeping with the Memorandum of Understanding. Mike Waltz, U.S. ambassador to the UN, said the Iranian regime is sadly mistaken if it thinks for a second that President Trump is going to stand by, while Iran continues to attack international shipping without a response. He told Fox News today they saw that loud and clear over the last few nights. President Trump on True Social late last night said the U.S. struck Iran for violating the ceasefire agreement again. He said it's very possible they will never learn. There may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we very successfully started. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist. Okay. The Iranian Foreign Ministry said the attacks launched by the U.S. on Iran the last few days in response to the U.S. says Iran attacking commercial ships in the Gulf. The Iranian Foreign Ministry says the U.S. attacks on Iran show that the U.S. regime places no value on its commitments and that breaking its promises is part of its nature. Iran and the U.S. differ on whether the memorandum of understanding that they signed gives Iran the ability to control which vessels can cross the strait and when. John Gonzalez thinks it won't end until Trump is out of office. Stormfather says same threats that they weren't able to follow through with in the first place. You mean from Iran? Buckminster Fullerene thinks that legally the strait is an international waterway where coastal states must allow transit. Rick W. says Iran doesn't care, they have a death wish. North Korean government, our viewer, says Trump is cooked. David Cho Klotz says Trump did nothing after last night's Iranian attacks on Bahrain and Kuwait. Sandy Lucas says actions speak louder than words. No, Fox 250R, I haven't heard of any new hostilities since the ones early this morning that we covered overnight. Oh, regarding the Trump golf course, which he posted about today, that Trump posted about East Potomac golf links. Which is either in or near D.C. I believe in D.C. You can see a picture of it right here from the Washington Post with the Washington Monument in the distance. And Trump says that he's going to get the course remade and start remaking it on September 1st. You can see here that the Washington Post says, it remains unclear whether the administration can move forward as quickly as Trump's September 1st date would suggest. The project is the subject of a pending federal lawsuit, and in May, a U.S. district judge warned federal officials to not proceed with major changes to the golf course without notifying the court. East Potomac has long occupied a unique place in Washington's recreational landscape. Built in 1923 on reclaimed land along the Potomac River, the public facility sits just south of the National Mall, where golfers play against a backdrop of the Washington Monument, Jefferson Memorial, and other iconic landmarks. Trump has repeatedly cited those views as a key reason he believes the property can be transformed into a world-class championship venue. The proposal to overhaul the course has unsettled many local golfers who worry that a course prized for its affordability could become more expensive and less accessible to everyday players. Let me just show you on a map where this is. East Potomac golf links. There you go. From Google Maps. So there's the Lincoln Memorial. There is the Washington Monument. There is the Capitol. And there's the golf course down here. There it is. Look at that. It's about, it's less than a mile south of the National Mall. Anyways, President Trump made a big post about it today. I don't want to talk about all that again, but I did want to mention that. Douthis says, how often would they clear it out for Trump to play there? Wickedest Witch says, is he going to rename it? I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's going to be allowed to start, if they're going to be allowed to start constructing on it. Anyways, I wanted to mention that. All right. Is there anything else big going on? New? If not, let me just check. All right. I am not seeing anything huge new right now. So I think we may be getting close to that time, guys. We've been here doing updates, first about the Venezuela earthquakes and then about Iran. So if there's big news later in this or something else, I can come back on the air. But I think for right now, I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream. I really appreciate everyone joining the live stream today. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll keep an eye on the news tonight. The price of oil, we covered. Yeah, it's down a little bit, down 0.31%. WTI crude down 0.16%. Not a big change. That's from TradingView.com. The oil market opened about 17 minutes ago. So I really appreciate people being here for the stream, and got to read a bunch of comments today, which was good. And thanks for sharing your updates with me. And when there's more big news, we'll come back on the air. Certainly thoughts to everybody in Venezuela. It's a terrible situation there. Tens of thousands of people missing. According to the website that I believe set up by the opposition in Venezuela, but this is the most widely cited one. 47,242 people reportedly on this, who have been posted about on this website, have not been found. Now that number, I think yesterday it was around 55,000. So hopefully they can keep finding people. Could be somebody gets reported and then they just haven't been in touch with a relative or something like that. So, but it's terrible. There's hundreds and hundreds of buildings that have been completely destroyed, and reportedly many buildings that haven't even really been searched yet. Well, we saw buildings today that were these huge buildings that had pancaked, that clearly significant work to go through those buildings and lift some of the debris up has not really happened. We've seen that in a lot of places. So it's terrible there. And I did make another donation last night to their, I'm not aware of an official, I said this yesterday real quick, I'm not aware of an official, donate to Venezuela put up by the government. At the same time, I'm guessing some of our viewers might not be comfortable giving money to the Venezuelan government. That's up to you. I will say that two things. First of all, if you do end up donating, just make sure you research wherever you're donating, because unfortunately, when there's tragedies, once in a while, people try to take advantage of that. Bad people up to no good try to take advantage of that. There are a number of large, well-known organizations that are organizing funds, and the one that I have donated to a couple times is a charity site that I sometimes use when there's some kind of tragedy that I want to make a donation for. It's called Global Giving. You can look at it. It says Venezuela Earthquake Relief Fund. They're not a sponsor or anything. I'm just mentioning this. If you're looking, you can go Google Global Giving and read about it yourself. But you should feel, if you do donate, you should feel comfortable wherever you donate. But I would just encourage you to do a bit of research and just make sure you know something about where you're donating through. So I just wanted to mention that, because sometimes people do ask me during the broadcast about that kind of thing. So I hadn't mentioned it yet, so I did want to mention it. Anyways, I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll keep an eye on Iran. And if there's big news with those things or other things, we can do another stream. Justin D. Winters says Doctors Without Borders has a special page. I know different people have different places they like to donate. Okay, so I do want to mention that if you want, subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. And also, if you want to know when we're going live, the best way is to sign up for our free notifications. It's a notification system that we have made, which we do through Discord. It works really great. You get a notification every time we go live, before we go live, and it's free to sign up, and you just have to sign up once. So if you want to, the mods will post a link to the free notification sign up in the chat. You can also find the sign up for the notifications link in the description of this video on Facebook and YouTube. But I would suggest turn on the notifications so you don't miss a live breaking news stream. And I will also post updates about the news on my X account, which is @Lookner. You can find me there on X, and I will post stuff there when I'm not on the air, news I am seeing. I think Chris Huntsman said he subscribed. Thanks, Chris, for subscribing. And I really appreciate also our moderators who have been here. We could not have our chat rooms without our moderators. They're incredible. Over on YouTube, people like Ruth, Beth Mythical, and all of our other moderators who've been over there today. Haley Girl, thank you. And our, hang on a second here. I am too many things open. Our Twitch moderators who have been there. People like Good Luck Duck, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, and Surly Dev. Huge thanks, and all of our other Twitch mods. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha who moderate for us on X. K. Lowry Body, Michael Fergal, Paul Anderson, Andrea Holder, Darren Charlo on Facebook. Huge thank you. Oh, by the way, thanks to Michael Fergal for the Facebook stars as well. So thanks to all of our mods. Also, thanks to everybody who supported the channel today. That's really nice of you. I owe a couple more, and that's what allows the channel to exist, is your support. Chandaneep Manesh. Thanks, Chandaneep, for becoming a member. Thank you, Kendra Fox, for your support on Twitch. And Cece. And Al Grimortal for subscribing over there. And all of our other support is very much appreciated. Another reminder, if you are on X, I would suggest following us on X as another way to find out when we're going live. I also post updates about the channel there, but I will give you a heads up on X when we're going live at Agenda Free TV. We do have a chat where you can chat for free with other viewers from the channel on Discord. A bunch of our viewers like doing that. It's the Discord chat. Check it out. It's the same link as the free notifications link. And thanks also to our Discord moderators who moderate our Discord chat. Thank you, Discord moderators. If you watch on YouTube, I would suggest turning on the YouTube notifications. The way you do that is you subscribe to the channel and then you click the bell and choose all notifications. So again, subscribe, click the bell, choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed, you can click the bell and choose all notifications. What I was also going to mention about subscribing on YouTube, about getting the notifications on YouTube, is if you want to get notifications on your phone, I recently realized this, you should go into your, I did get the notification on my phone today, but if you're not getting notifications on your phone on YouTube, go to the YouTube app on your phone and make sure you go through the settings. Because I had to go through my settings on my app on YouTube on my phone and check, like, I think it's called subscriptions. It says send notifications for all subscriptions or something like that. What is it? Maybe I'll see here. Let's see. Can I even find it here? Here. Me, settings, notifications. Yeah, there was a thing I had to turn on. Notify me about activity from the channels I'm subscribed to. So I had to turn that on my YouTube app to get the notifications for the channel. Deadwing says my notifications have been late. Yeah, so Discord is the best notifications, as Haley Girl says. Dr. McRib says mine come intermittently. Sign up for the free Discord notifications. Those are the best ones. That's the one in the show description. Okay. Dr. McRib says mine come through immediately. Hey, big thanks to our Facebook subscribers, people like Diane Allworth and Dolly Clark and Michael Clayton and Kay Lowry Body, all of our subscribers over there who support the channel. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Our Twitch subscribers too, huge thanks. Chi-Town Bear, Kendra Fox, Justin D. Winters, Agramortal, Al Gramortal, Dowtheme, Night Owl, CC, DJ Saltlick, Sarah, Muddy Dogs, Hugh J, Kendra Fox, Will from Online, Wall Street, Shaggy, Nogul, excuse me, Susan CHF, Boba J Fett, R Green, Graybeard Games, Brand Nubian, Ninja Baseball Batman, and all of our other subscribers over there on Twitch. Kendra Fox, thank you. And our YouTube members, big thanks. Thorn Ravenstar, good to see you, Thorn. Deadwing, Darcy Do That, Eric Johnson, Unauthorized Nostalgia, thanks for being members. Ben Van Cack 813, MOE 90, Paps, Dr. McRib, Glenda, Jason D in California, JK Cinar, Marisol Del Valle, Harper Ann, Lolly Lollipop, all of our other YouTube members, thank you so much. Everybody else for watching. I am Carlos Danger. Tyler Town, Sorchio Ingos, and also Kendra, thanks for all your support. Kendra got a new badge for supporting over there on Twitch. Thank you, Kendra. I appreciate that very much. And Brendan Brumon, thanks for watching. Brian Daviow, and Stephanie Kimber Hooper, Joe Blankenship. Oh, yeah, and Brendan asked about the toll. The latest death toll I saw was 1450 in Venezuela. That's expected to go up a bunch. And I think it was 1430 late yesterday. So again, but that's expected to rise a bunch, sadly. So we very well might do more coverage of the earthquake. But I'll keep an eye on it. All right. So I'm going to wrap up this live stream. If you missed it, you can rewind and watch our coverage of Venezuela and Iran developments today. Let's do a last check here. Are they really going to not be fighting? Is it really going to be no fighting in Iran till Tuesday, and then the U.S. and Iran will meet about the Strait of Hormuz? Is that really going to happen? I don't know. That's what Axios says. All right. So that is it for right now. Again, thank you for watching the coverage today, and thank you to our mods, and we'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.